Hey, what's up, y'all? Idella Harrison here, Senior Partner of Education with Community Build Ventures. So I just got off a great phone call with a charter management organization, the CMO. They have charter schools all over the country, and they've taken an initiative to center equity. So they want to be able to measure equity and actually address it, figure out what the strengths of what they're doing, and then also, improve leverage area, figure out key leverage areas. And so they took me through the process of this, and they said they hired an organization to come in and do their equity assessment. Then they hired a consultant to do listening circles. And now they're in a space of trying to figure out what their implementation roadmap will be. So like now the pathway, now that they have all this information. And I was just sitting there, I was like, wait, you hired one company to do this, another company to do that, and you still need to hire another group to do something else. Y'all listen, if you're about centering equity and doing equity assessments, you want to look for a company, or this is how you want to look for a company that can do all of that together in one, right? To where you have an equity assessment, and this assessment is not just a survey, it's a survey. There's also focus groups, interviews, not just of faculty of color, but of everybody. Faculty of color, white faculty, staff, leadership, parents, students. You want to do focus groups and interviews of all of them, perception surveys. Also, what you want to do is do a desk audit where you look at all the data, discipline data, special education performance data, academic performance data, just all of those things. And then also what you want to do is look for a company that does site visits, that will come in and sit in on a class, sit in and look at the hallways. Now I know we're virtual right now, so that's a little difficult, but you can sit in on virtual classes and see if culturally responsive pedagogy is happening. Culturally sustaining pedagogy is happening. So you need this full-on 360-degree approach. That's just in your assessment. Part of that assessment are the focus groups. It all goes together, importantly. And then once you get all those key pieces, survey data, desk audit data, interview and focus group data, site visit data, now that same group should be helping you, the school, the organization, craft an implementation plan. And then walking with you to begin to implement the implementation plan. And then have a set of measurements, roadblocks, benchmarks, standards, whatever you want to say. We call them additionally integrity checks along the way. Then you're able to monitor and evaluate how you're doing, and then complete the cycle, or at least the school improvement cycle over again, where we now take that information and see how well we're doing, aligning and doing all that. So I was just, my wife was like, I was telling her about this over lunch, and so I'm on lunch duty with my daughter. She's out of school today because it's a holiday. She's off this week, so we're heading out to play football and ride bikes and so on and so forth. She just rode past, so excuse the attire, but I told my wife before I left, she was like, you need to do a video sharing what you should be looking for in a company that leads your school equity assessments. So what we want to do is be able to provide a comprehensive service, and that's what Community Build Ventures does. But we call the whole process equity-centered school improvement, which includes the assessment, includes the implementation roadmap, and includes the continuous improvement process. Now, if you want, you can get just an assessment. That's fine. But then you got to figure out what your next steps are going to be. We want to help you along that entire journey. So I was excited to hear that they did this measurement, that, they did this across their schools and they're working on, but they're just sitting with this data. They're sitting with these focus groups, information. One other thing is that in their focus groups, they only spoke to educators of color. And I'm just like, what a missed opportunity, because it's not just educators of color that are running the school, it's white educators as well. And so what piece of information, and I shared that, what happens is now the burden of change could potentially lie on the educators of color. Oh, well, they're complaining about this, or they highlighted this. When there are similar issues that both white and educators of color are experiencing, there could be similarities and differences, but we want to make a more equitable learning environment for everybody, not just the people of color. Now, I don't mind centering. It is important to center the voices of people of color. That is super important. I get that. But you also got to hear what other people's experiences are so that they can highlight. So you can say like, okay, these might be some of what we're doing is trying to collect enough data so we get a good snapshot of what's happening, a good understanding. And if we're only hearing the voices from our educators of color and not the lived experiences of our white educators that are in the building, white school leaders, white faculty and staff, front office workers, we're not getting everything, and therefore our solutions, the steps we make towards becoming a more equitable environment might not be as good as they could be if we're informed by that data. So anyway, so my wife was like, get on here, just share that information. And so I wanted to just share that with you. When you're looking for a company and you're looking to improve, to quantify equity and get on that pathway to improvement, you got to have a tool that's assessed, that gives 360 degrees and talks to everybody, or at least attempts to engage everybody in the community. Then you got to make sure that you have an implementation roadmap. And then you got to take that process, that roadmap on to actually execute it within one company. That helps to keep the continuity together so that the relationships you've built at the very beginning continue through all the way through that process. That's what happens. Anyway, so I just wanted to share with that on my walk up to recess with my daughter. Now we're going to go and play a little football and ride bikes. But just wanted to share that with you. Ayodele Harrison, Senior Partner of Education. If you want to know more about our Equity Centered School Improvement, reach out to me. Send me an email, ayodele@communitybuildventures.com. Wherever you're seeing this, shout me out, DM me on social media. You can also get through our website. You can contact us, communitybuildventures.com. I guess the best way is holler at me if you have questions about how to do that, how to run this equity assessment, if you want to learn more about how we do it in the schools that we do and the districts that we work with. All right? Take care. Peace.